Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our reading through the Tanak night, the 25th of December, 2024. Okay, with that being said, we're going to be dealing with will David be resurrected or Yahweh Shai? So we're going to deal with that. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at. Examine the videos, the content, rightly divide it. These videos will connect dots for you and lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay? And we have our cash app at the bottom of the screen in case you want to support the channel and help it move along. That too would be greatly appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Redeemer and our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our reading through the Tanakh. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms, current events. Then we open it up for some. We have some need to know information. Then we open it up for some Q&A, any comments, dialogue. Then we go into our topic. As I mentioned earlier, will David be resurrected or Yahweh Shai? Who's gonna be? So, with that being said, then we'll close out. Okay. With that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongs unto Thee. Therefore, we come before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as Thy servants David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For we know You possess the power to turn us, and we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and to keep Your commandments and Your testimony, the statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of this covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna read the song. Okay. I think it's Psalm 14, if I'm not mistaken. Psalm 14. Okay. Okay. 15. Who shall dwell in the holy hill? This is a song of David. Lord, who shall abide in Thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in Thy holy hill? He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness, and speaketh the truth in his heart. He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose eyes a vile person is contempt, but he honoreth them that fear the Lord. He that sweareth to his own hurt and changeth not. He that putteth not out his money to usury, nor taketh reward against the innocent. He that doeth these things shall never be moved. So that was Psalm 15, who shall dwell in the holy hill. So it's kind of like a blueprint for a lot of people, because he's telling you what to do. You know, he says, the man that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. And then 5, he that putteth not out his hand for usury, which is any money, nor taketh a reward against the innocent. He that doeth these things shall never be moved. Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. Anybody good? Okay. So with that being said, we'll go into our first video, and this video here is like a follow up on what was mentioned a couple of days ago about the Pope opening up those portals. So we're gonna play it, and then we'll deal with it as we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So y'all, the Pope allegedly opened up a portal, and we're going to talk about that today. We know this man doesn't have the ability to do this, you know, but just the fact that they use those words, opening a portal, like he's got some type of spiritual authority and he can do these things, and we know he don't, you know. And the Catholic Church doesn't even have morals, so spiritual authority, I don't think so. So this is, in my opinion, their last-ditch effort to try to stay in power, because they know all of it's going away. And we're in those times when we are about to see their powers fail them on a physical level. It's been spiritual for quite some time now. It has. Now we're about to go into times where even on a physical level, it's going to fail them. All of this opening portals, 5 portals, is for naught. It's not going to amount to nothing. So I'm going to show you this clip, because what he did actually made worldwide news. I'm going to show you the clip of the doors opening, the holy doors opening, signifying an open portal, and him ushering in their Jubilee year in 2025. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
Are you looking to register your business using an address other than your home?
Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, hold on. I got it. Let me get the sound.
Pope Francis's Christmas Eve message focused on the hope that anyone can change the world and the courage needed to do it. He's also kicking off a once-in-a-quarter-century holy year known as a Jubilee. It dates back centuries, and as CBS's Chris Livesay reports, the Vatican and Rome have been preparing for this moment.
With a few knocks, the doors of St. Peter's Basilica swung open for Pope Francis this evening, ushering the world's Roman Catholics into Christmas and the start of a Jubilee year. A once every 25-year tradition when the faithful make pilgrimages to this church. Soaring 450 feet into the sky, it is the tallest in the world. And with roots dating back more than 1,600 years, it's also one of the oldest. What better time to dust it off, with renovations on the outside meant to reflect spiritual renewal on the inside, says Father Enzo Fortunato.
And it's sort of a metaphor. Yes, metaphor. It's exactly the word. For the kind of internal restoration. Metaphor. Yes.
One of the biggest restorations was of Bernini's masterpiece, the Baldachin.
So for the first time in 250 years, it's been restored to its original splendor. Before, you have the image, I think, was very black. And now we can admire the gold.
The canopy sits atop the tomb of none other than the first pope ever.
This is the center of the altar. It's
Oh,
the center where is the tomb of St. Peter.
Right beneath our feet.
Yes.
If you can't come in person, the Vatican has recreated St. Peter's digitally with the help of AI. But if you can, brace yourself. You'll be joined by more than 30 million visitors to
Do those things to us. You know, we weren't really human anyway, so it was okay to treat us inhumanely. And they stayed silent. Not only did they stay silent, but they had slaves themselves. They are responsible, and we saw the mass graves up there in Canada. And trust me, there's some here in the US. It's a lot of hidden things in this place. It's no way that occurred in Canada, but it didn't occur here. It occurred here too. Don't let these people try to con you into believing something just happened in Canada, but it didn't happen here. It happened here too. Lots of those massacres happened in this land as well. So that's how they're going to usher in. So this is, according to them, portal number 1. And a few more days, he's going to open up the second portal by going through another set of doors and so on and so forth. I think the final portal is opened like around January 5th. So that's what they're doing. Yeah, Loretta just walked in. Whenever you hear Loretta, a lot of times she just came into the room. Many times when I start my lives, she's not even up here. She just comes up here while I'm talking. She knows. I think she does know I'm live. But anyway, you know, the Catholic Church, when you look at everything historically, has done more harm than good. And look, they won't even punish their priests that are raping children. They don't even want to do that we're in modern times, and they are still covering for these priests. So when you say, you know, this institution, because some people will try to tell you it got better, they don't do those things anymore. And as long as you don't punish those priests, no, you haven't gotten better. You haven't. You're just up to the same trickery. You're just doing it in different ways. That's all. You know, if y'all could find a way to keep all of your dirt out of the news, you would do it. But you know, technically, you can't do that. Some degree of your dirt is going to always come out. But
okay, any comments on that? Anybody else heard anything about that?
Shalom. Now you mentioned that this was going to happen a week or so ago, and you know, from your conversation, Jubilee is every 50 years, and I hadn't heard anything recently about the priests or them doing any correcting the things they did monetarily to, you know, to these kids.
Right. Exactly. So all that is what they did to the kids is what they was doing back in the day that we read in the scriptures when it says they were sacrificing their kids to Moloch. They're still dealing with the same deities. So if you're expecting them to do something different now, they ain't gonna do nothing different. They're dealing with the same deities that they was back in the day, they're dealing with today. You had something?
Shalom, yes, sir. I saw the video, and I don't know if you guys saw this or not, or if it stood out, but as they were walking out, right, they were led by children, and there were children putting things up on whatever they called that, an altar or whatever. There were children going up, placing things on this altar, right? So what caught my attention is when they were on their way out, all the children were in front of the Pope. Of course, he was in his wheelchair, right? But there was different nations of children. There was a black boy, there was an Asian girl, a white boy. It was like different nationality of children in front of the Pope. And that really stood out to me, and that was the one thing I thought about, is them sacrificing children.
Right.
Is when I saw that. And then of course I had to go do a little bit of research on this St. Peter's, right? But Basilica, I think I'm saying that
Mm-hmm.
right. I had to do a little bit of research on that to try to get a better understanding of, you know, where this all came from, how far it goes back, and all that. So this goes all the way back to Constantine.
Right.
That's, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, again, uh pagan worship that continues to go on and on and on year after year. And they just really try to make it seem as though it is really a great meaning behind everything, when it's nothing but it's pagan. It's just
Right.
all total pagan Christianity worship.
Right. Exactly right. And then so like I was holding the conversation earlier, when you understand that what you're looking at with the New Testament is the Greeks came along, and everywhere they went, they synchronized their religion with the religions that they came across, like Buddhism and all that. So they got a hold to our records, the Tanak. They got a hold to the Egyptians' records, which is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And the God that's in the Egyptian Book of the Dead is Horus. The God in the Old Testament is, no, Tanakh is the Lord of Hosts, right? So they just
Yes, sir.
combined all that. That's what you're looking at. Combination of, like I said, the how you make a god is they got these characteristics that you put on him. He got to turn water into wine. He's teaching in the temple. So all that came from Europe, from Egypt. So they put all that on JC. And then they used what the Lord of Hosts, the role Lord of Hosts played in the Tanakh. They put that on him. So, and then, but the thing, like what you were just saying, is it started with Ptolemy. When Alexander came on the scene and he died, one of his generals with Ptolemy, he got Egypt. When he got to Egypt, he told those Egyptians to make him into a god. Egyptians were pros at making gods. So they made him Serapis. So when you get to Constantine, all he doing is picking up what Serapis, the god he chose was Serapis, the white god. That was the first white god. So when Constantine came, he Greek too, but he's in the Roman Empire, but he Greek. So he just
Right.
he took.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's how everything is flowing, right?
So in Rome, Constantine was the one that built the first basilica. It's because you're saying, because from what I was reading, they were saying that he was the one that built the basilica, right? Which it was
Right,
called Constantine's Basilica. Now it's called uh St. Peter's
right, exactly,
Basilica.
right. And the
Mm.
objective was the reason that he built that, and then they always hollering about it ain't about race. He nut bucket that don't on the lower level don't know, but when he built that basilica, he made a point to bring it out of Africa. Because before that, everything was in Africa. All the religions, all the knowledge, and all that was in Egypt. So he wanted to, because they transferring over to the Gentiles. They wanted to get that. They didn't want to build that church in Africa, so they built it over there, the Byzantine in that area. So they wanted to get it out of anywhere where people of color was at. So that's how they came
Mhm.
about. Like so Serapis is Horus, and then JC is Serapis. See what I'm saying? They just like they
Mhm.
changed, just like they made Serapis duplicated him off of Horus. Then when it was time to make another god, the one they needed, Constantine, he wanted one religion, one god, one emperor. So then he came, and he brought Serapis to the table. Serapis became Jesus Christ. Okay.
Okay. And as I was reading up on that, right? And I don't know, just sometimes light bulbs go off the more I research and the more I read. They've always tried to say that we were a cult, right? Even today, that's what they
Mhm.
call us. If it's like you're a cult. But the more I was reading on them, it seems as though they are the ones that are a cult. You know what I'm saying? Like, um,
Right.
right, with all the extreme things that they do, it makes to me more sense viewing them as a cult, but they always try to flip it and turn the bad on us
Right.
when
Right.
it's truly them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And they like I was saying, they had no history. They came out of caves, so the cults was in Egypt. Like it's a cult, even to this day. It's a cult following behind ISIS. It was already a cult following behind Horus and Osiris. So when they concocted JC, that's the reason why he lit up. They lit on him and latched onto him so fast. He already had a cult following from thousand years. So it just caught on. That's how they get. That's how Mary caught on. Because Mary ain't nothing but ISIS. They had these occult followers already attached to them. They just changed it. They just did a makeover on it, but it's still the same entity, which is from back in Egypt.
I
That's what so
see.
many people don't understand. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, an example is, it's actually, it's ridiculous once the information start coming out. But you go to the Egyptian Book of the Dead, everything that Horus said is written in red. You know what I'm saying? Let that ferment. Everything Horus said in the Egyptian Book of the Dead is written in red. So then you come to the New Testament, when they concocted JC, everything JC said is written in red.
Yes, sir.
So it makes no sense because of Yahweh speaking, Yahweh speaking in the Old Testament, but he said they written in red. So I'm saying, so that's embarrassing to me. Like I said, when these things were being revealed to me, I was ashamed. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. So anybody got any more comments on that? Okay, yeah. So we'll go to let me see if I stop there. Yeah, yeah. So we go to this next video. I'm gonna play it and then we'll deal with it. Okay.
America spent $135 billion in today's money to rebuild Europe through the Marshall Plan. Right now, BRICS countries are positioning to invest over 800 billion US dollars in Africa's future. But here's what everybody's missing.
So my reason for playing this is that when these people say things, they don't say them by accident. So they said that, and I got it on 4 or 5 different videos, how they telling us through these videos and movies how in the very near future, predominantly over 90% of the world population is going to be in Africa, right? So when you go back to history, World War One, like I said, even a reset, you start hearing about a reset over the last probably the last 10 years, and it really picked up around the last 5 years about just reset, global reset, global reset. Well, World War One was a reset because what they do, they tore down everything. They cause all these wars, just like they're doing now, to tear everything down, because real estate is what makes the country, the housing market and all that. So they tore everything down, blowed it all over bombs. Then they came back and built it up. They did it in World War One. They came back in World War, tore everything up. But like he just said, they took $135 billion in 1948. Remember that 1948 it started. That's when Israel became a nation. But they started rebuilding everything, and they spent $130 in. That was a global reset because they tore everything down and then they're building it all back up. So now Africa, the focus is on Africa. You see what's going on with Tory and Mali and all that. And so now, so far, the BRICS nation has already spent $800 billion in Africa, building up its infrastructure. So that's why they saying they already know that by what they doing in Africa, that's where everybody headed. Because they did the same thing in World War One and Two. So Africa getting this makeover, right? They didn't shine the light on Africa. Africa getting this makeover. That's where everybody gonna end up with. By the time they finish with all this drama they got going on, ain't nobody gonna be here. Everybody gonna have their eyes, and we over here, we in the dark, but they already flocking into Africa already. We in the dark. They already flocking over there. Like I said, just behind what we'll see that in a minute on this next video, but just off of what Torre and those three guys doing, because they all that wealth, all that mineral wealth. Like the guy said, you got countries that severely they rich, multi-rich off of one mineral. When between those four countries, it's 44 minerals. So these people, being that they deal with money and all that, they already see what's happening. So they running over there to get ahead of the game because they see that what's happening over here. They running over there. Any comments, questions?
Shalom, everyone. Also, could it be the foreseeing of the United States is predicted that their coasts will be falling into the sea or breaking away from their edges, the coasts like Florida and California and parts of, up north, they're going to be falling into the sea or either breaking off from um, this continent. It's going to be breaking up. And they said in the next 30 to 40 years, things are going to start falling apart. So is that one of the fears that they need to find somewhere else to go and they're headed over there, even though they're not Hebrew Israelites, they just headed that way? Because Elon Musk is talking about going to the moon or what have you, or to Mars, but yet that could be their Mars. That could be their, other planet they consider themselves having, but they could be going over there to Africa, and being that it's so big, and they're going that way. I mean, because there's that prediction, and things have been happening where parts of this states have been falling off into the ocean. So we just got a couple of more decades for it to start falling apart. And if that's something they foresee is happening, why not place stake over there or somewhere and leave the United States?
Well,
That
they
could be
not.
part of it. But
You,
as far as
you,
biblical, but I'm just saying those people who are leaving now, putting stake into it.
you think that it's going to be 30 years before we leave for all this happen?
I have no idea. I know signs are being there, and I know as growing up, um, there were people speaking on the end of time, how
Right.
things are going to happen, and be it known, I'm 60 years old now. So when I heard it, I was 7, 8, around
Right.
7 or 8. So here we are now with this, I haven't heard it in so much a biblical term as we're speaking on now because I was not introduced to the Lord of Hosts as the way I am now. It was JC coming back and saving everyone, and how things are going to happen back then when they were speaking of JC. But now that I'm here, getting into the truth of the Most High, Lord of Hosts, um, I'm seeing it different, but yet there are, being that we're here now, we're living day to day, and these things are happening around us. Until till it happens, so we really don't know. Tomorrow, next year, 5 years from now, I don't know, but they are predicting that these areas of the United States will be falling off into the sea.
Right. Yeah, he says that he's predicted it. And one of the examples, he says it a lot, but the one that sticks out in my head is in Ezekiel 37, verse 15, when he says, I spoke it, I'm form it, I'm gonna bring it to pass. So what we're talking about and what we're dealing with is prophecy that the Lord of hosts brought forward, spoke about it. So it's not gonna be a natural occurrence. So I had broke down one of those what's called Hebrew idiom, where most of the Lord of hosts and the Israelites, the Hebrew language itself, they speak in like it's a slang. They speak in a slang, like lick up the dust. It's a phrase that means something. The same way, that's why we do what we do now, because we have that Hebrew takeover that's on us, that we speak like that. So you're gonna turn to captivity. So we was in Egypt, and we had been there for over 400 years, and it would have kept on going. But Yahweh sent the Lord of hosts to Egypt, and he turned the captivity. He didn't wait for natural occurrences to unfold. It was already prophesied. He had already told Abraham that. So he went there and cut it off. He turned the captivity. So that same, we got prophecy on us over here. So what we're looking at now, he's turning our captivity of being over here in America. And he said that we know how he operates through his creation. So we see right now as we speak, he's turning this captivity. Like he said, that you see me reading all the time in Isaiah chapter 60. And when he says the forces of the Gentiles, I'm going to convert the forces of the Gentiles under you. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, in the curses, he converted what we had. We had all the wealth. He converted that to them. So now what we're looking at is he converted the wealth of the Gentile that they stole back to us. That's what we're looking at. So it's the hand of the Lord that's doing that. And at that same time, you see these people, they trying to operate like they Yahweh or they like they're the Lord of hosts, but they trying to dictate things like with harps and all that. Or like even with, like I was telling you, the Jubilees. The Most High deal is in weeks of years. 6 years you work the ground, the 7th year it relax. You let the ground rest. So that's a jubilee. That's a week of years, 7 years. Then after 49 years, you get a jubilee. So that's how he worked. He operate. That's how time is kept. Time was kept in Israel. That's how time was kept in heaven. But these people, now today, when you go back and look at what they're doing, look at 2001, they came and caused the 9/11. Then 7 years later, 6 years and a year release, 7 years, 2008, they came and they caused the stock market to crash in 2008. So they operate, they trying to operate off the same principles that the Yahweh operating off of. And that's what we're looking at. That's why everything looks like You got an end time that they done concocted. Then you got an end time that our Redeemer done gave us. And you have to be able to rightly divide it. Even though what they doing, they doing what he prophesied they're gonna do, but they actually thinking that they doing it. But he's already prophesied what was gonna happen, and they doing just that. A prime example, earthquakes. He says it's gonna be earthquakes all over the place, right? So if you go back to natural occurrences, like the earthquake at Pompeii and these different earthquakes, they happen, in different places at different times. But when he said it's gonna be earthquakes all over the place, somebody causing them. That's what they. So it's unnatural earthquakes happening now all over the place because they causing them. So they actually going along with the Lord hosts already prophesied, but they think that they but they not. That's how that works. So they got a projected time that they gotta run us. They want everybody out of here because the natural occurrences is that something a nation rises and it falls. So they got to move before that happens. That's what this all you're looking at now. The urgency of the situation. They see what the Lord of hosts is doing. He bringing the place down. They got to move before that. And that's what we're looking at. And you have to be able to distinguish between that.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Right. Let me play some more of this.
This isn't just money. It's about something far more powerful. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why this could be the biggest shift in global economic power since World War II. And if you think this doesn't affect you, wait until you see what's coming. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why Africa, with 60% of the world's arable land and the fastest growing population, still struggles economically? The answer might make you angry. Now I want you to picture this. 1980s Africa. The World Bank and IMF arrive with the so-called help. Their structural adjustment programs forced Africa to float their currencies, remove essential subsidies, privatize state companies, and open markets to unfair competition. Now pause for a second and imagine what we have just said. What will happen to your country tomorrow if someone forced it to remove all protective economic policies overnight? The results were devastating. Many African countries haven't yet recovered from the structural adjustment programs up to today. But what happens next is even more shocking, and it explains exactly why BRICS matters so much right now. Now think about this. When was the last time you heard a Western institution funding a project that connects multiple African countries? I will wait. Write in the comment section below. We've all heard about the Lobito project, which is actually an answer to China's Belt and Road project. But this...
So this is what I was talking about. What we're seeing is Isaiah 60, right in front of our face. The Lord of hosts is behind it. He said, I spoke it, and he performed it. And he's using these very people to do it. Okay?
Is the West reacting to what China has done because they are competing with China for resources. Now look at what BRICS is doing. They are funding the Tanzania Standard Gauge Railway project, about $1.6 billion to connect not just one country, but Kenya, Rwanda, DR Congo, and Ethiopia. But here is the real game changer. In the next minutes, I will show you why this multi-country approach could completely transform Africa's economic future. But first, let's talk about what everyone is getting wrong about the BRICS. People think this is just about replacing the dollar, but that's like saying social media is replacing phone calls. the reality is far more interesting. BRICS isn't just creating alternatives to SWIFT and the World Bank. They are rewriting the entire rulebook of global economic development. And African countries are about to play a major part in this transformation.
That's why
it
they
should be
say
noted that as of now, African countries make up 25% of BRICS. Now, here is where things get really interesting. BRICS isn't just offering Africa loans. They are offering something far more valuable, a seat at the table. Africa's consumer market will hit 2.4 billion people by 2050. The number of millionaires is projected to grow by 47% in the next decade. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. BRICS members aren't just seeing Africa as a market. They are viewing it as a future manufacturing powerhouse. And this changes everything. So ask yourself, what happens when African nations can finally trade using their local currency? What happens when they can build factories without crushing loan conditions? But let's be real for a minute. China's economy dwarfs other members. The Chinese GDP is about 70% of other member states in BRICS. There is a risk of strongman politics, and some critics say it could create new forms of dependency. However, here is what these critics are missing, and this is actually crucial for understanding where the real opportunities lie. The game isn't about choosing the West or BRICS. It's about leveraging both to build something new, and this is where you come in. Now, let me show you exactly how this BRICS transformation is creating three massive opportunities in African manufacturing. The first principle, look for industries with high import dependency, because
forces of the Gentiles.
Here's what most people miss. When a country imports 80% of basic goods, that's not a problem. That's an opportunity waiting to happen. Now take Dangote's oil refinery in Nigeria, which is actually the largest single train refinery in the world. But importers of refined fuel in Nigeria welcome it. The answer, you know it, is no. Importers fought him every step of the way. Why? Because disruptions threatens established patterns. We just set disruptions. That's a lot of business opportunity. When you disrupt something, when your business is in a disruptive scale, it means you're going to make a lot of money. And that's what Dangote is doing right now. And
so you want to watch that? It's BRICS African strategy, the most important story nobody's talking about. So you want to check that out. You know, any comments on that? Okay. Got to meet. Somebody got something?
Shalom. I was wondering, the book of Jeremiah, does it describe anything that's happening today?
In certain cases, but you got to look at when Jeremiah was brought on the scene and what the purpose that he brought him on the scene. So when did Jeremiah come on the scene? And what was going on? Israel was in sin, right? And he told,
yes, sir.
He used Jeremiah to warn the Israelites that Nebuchadnezzar was coming.
Yes, so the Tower of Babel.
Right. That's the scene that's set. And he used Jeremiah to prophesy to the Israelites, let them know that they was in sin, and that people in Babylon, after 70 years, they was coming back. That was Jeremiah's major role. In a couple of places, he alluded to things beyond that, but predominantly, he's there to prophesy to the Israelites about them going in immediately after when he come on the scene, after they go into captivity in Babylon and come out. And you got to you got to look at that. Like I was saying, that's the foundation of how the Creator and how he operates between heaven and earth. So when he prophesied to Abraham in Genesis 15, he not skipping all the way from there all the way to America. No, he prophesied to Abraham. He said, you gonna die in your old age, and then your seed gonna go into captivity, which is Egypt. Not to America. He's telling Abraham what's getting ready to immediately happen when he passed away. And that's how you gotta look at. That's how you gotta look at. You gotta go back and deal with history and the scriptures and find out when this person existed. Then a lot of things start falling in place. Okay, I mean another example is in Ezekiel 40. They tell you that the temple that they go to that temple and say that's the futuristic temple that's going to be built in the future. But Ezekiel in the captivity in Babylon. Let me read that. So you go to Ezekiel chapter 1, right quick. Ezekiel chapter 1. Yeah,
chapter 40. Oh, you said chapter 1? Yes, sir.
Right. Chapter 1, verse 1 says, now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives. See that? He's in captivity he's in captivity in Babylon. That Jeremiah prophesied, I was among the captives by the river Kabar, that the heavens were open, and I saw a vision. Right? So he's in the captivity. So if everything that a lot of the things Jeremiah, Ezekiel telling you about gonna happen, Jeremiah already told you that they're only gonna be there 70 years. So the vision that Ezekiel having in chapter 40, if you go there, right, go to chapter 40. It says the vision of the temple. And it says, in the 5th and 20th year of our captivity. See, he in Babylon. In the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year, after that, the city was smitten, and in the self-same day, the hand of the Lord was upon me and brought me here. So in the vision of God, he brought me into the land of Israel. So he took him in the vision back to the land of Israel and set me upon a very high mountain, by which was a frame of a city on the south. So they're getting ready to go. Jeremiah already told them that's when the vision started happening. Like right now, I'm here, other people here now because it's time. So he got the vision because of the 70 years almost up. So let's go to one more place. Show you what I'm talking about. Daniel. Go to the book of Daniel. Okay. And the chapter I'm always going to destroy JC. I'm in chapter 9, verse 1. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus is dealing with Esther, and the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans, Babylon. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books, right, the number of years, the 70 years. Wherefore the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, right? I just broke that down. The prophet. And he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. Now, so the vision came, Jeremiah, no. We at that point. We at these 70 years time to go. So, like I said, you ain't got to run around and looking out in Walmart and the dollar store. He's going to raise the prophet up. You ain't got to find him. He's going to raise him up. So he came and gave Jeremiah a vision. That's how you know who the prophet is. So he says, 3, and I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplication, fasting, sackcloth, and ashes. Because it's 70. The same thing we're doing now. He told us, Isaiah 44, I read it all the time, 1 through 5. He's going to pour his spirit out on us in the last days. So we know he to pour the spirit out, so we know that's how close we are. He's starting to wake up Israelites. They're starting to get dreams and visions. They're starting to get interaction from the Lord of hosts. So we know we at the time. So like I said before, Ezekiel is in the captivity in Babylon. So the temple that's in Ezekiel 40 is the temple that Zerubbabel gonna build. They already been built. They already tore it down. This ain't no temple in the future. Right. Well,
Yes, sir.
that's how you write divided every time. You got to find out when that person existed, and then you can pretty much line everything out. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So we got some need to know information right here. This is really what I want to focus on right here. I talked about this all the time, but this guy really went in on this. So let's look at it. So need to know information. It's tied to, like I said, show you how close we are. It's okay. Here you go. Yeah. Got to do with Isaiah 60. I'm always reading. Here we go.
It does. These are revolutions. They are revolutions because it has become obvious that those who are lackeys of France in the Sahelian region were manipulating the electoral process, were using institutions such as the judiciary for purposes of perpetuating the French agenda. And that these young men from the military came out and said, no, when the people cannot do it through traditional revolution, we are going to do it through the barrel of the gun and use the institution of the military to change the equation. And they have changed the equation. How have they changed the equation? First, they are saying we are cutting political ties with Paris. Secondly, we are cutting economic ties with Paris. We are getting out of any organization which is led by France. We are cutting off the situation that compels us to use the currency that is printed in France. We are ensuring that our resources are going to be refined, and they are entering into arrangements with a number of countries, including Russia and China, to begin to build institutions and
like I said, it's not the Babylonians came and got us and put us in that Babylonian captivity, but they was not the ones that released us. The Creator, the Lord of hosts, used the Medes and Persians. So he just told you right here who the author behind who he's gonna use to release us is Russia and China. Not the Americans. Them. He finna Jeremiah to tell the Israelites, yeah, the Chaldeans gonna take you into back captivity, but after 70 years, I'm gonna bring you out, then I'm gonna judge the Chaldeans. He through with them. So it's just a matter of going through the motions. He through with the Americans. He through with them. We see what he's doing now. He bringing Russia and China on the scene for one reason only. That's to raise us up and using them to release us. It ain't nothing new under the sun.
Installations that are going to refine their uranium, refine their gold so that there is value addition. What is happening in the Sahelian region is, in my submission and in the view of many independent commentators, the beginning of the total liberation not only of those countries, but the former French colonies. And it is not lost on me that the leaders of those countries are sending a very clear message. They are sending the message that any institution which makes the claim that is a pan-African institution but is being controlled from outside will be defied. I remember that day, the day after the coup d'etat in Niger, and I remember the meetings that were held in Accra, Ghana, the meetings that were held in Abuja, Nigeria,
check it out.
The meetings that gave a 72-hour ultimatum to Niger and said, we are going to invade you, not in so many words, but we are not going to allow you. I remember the sanctions that were imposed upon Niger. And I remember all the three leaders, Traore in Burkina, and I remember the new leaders in Niger. I remember the leaders in Mali said, we are now entering into a military pact You attack Niger, you have attacked Mali, you attack Burkina, you have attacked Mali, and you have attacked Niger, and of course, even Dumbuya in Guinea-Conakry said, we will join you. That is a new face. It is a face that was not contemplated, and the Sahelian revolution, because it is a revolution, is beginning to redefine how former French colonies are relating with France at the critical levels, including the area of trade, including control of their militaries, including control of their language. And it is not lost on me that in Mali, they have actually declared that French is no longer the national language. Bambara is now the national language. It is a clear statement that they are beginning to regain their independence, and they are doing it in a manner that was not anticipated and in a manner that was not contemplated. It begs the question, will the men in uniform continue to be in power until kingdom come? No. They have said in Burkina, they have said in Niger, they have said in Mali, they have said in Guinea-Conakry, we are midwives.
Come on.
We have come here for a short time to clean up the mess that has been with us. We have come here to clean up the mess that the French have always created. We have come here to ensure that the insurgency, which is sponsored by the French in Burkina Faso, which is sponsored by them in Mali, which is sponsored by them in Niger, which is sponsored by them in Guinea-Conakry, the insurgency will eliminate it and will introduce a new system of governance which will allow the peoples of our country to participate in their governance without being controlled from Paris. They are saying that we have been puppets for too long. We are now regaining our independence, and this revolution is a revolution which is unique, is a revolution which is being defined and refined by young Africans whose agenda, spirit of Pan-Africanism. The Sahelian revolution is a revolution which will change the continent of Africa and redefine Africa's relationship with the former colonizers. You know?
Right. So let's look at that part right quick. So he says that in scripture, okay, like I said, I keep going Isaiah chapter 60, and then Isaiah 60, 44, 44 verses 1 through 5. So, and the curse, why were they able, the European and everybody else, and the Chinese, everybody, and their mama and daddy and everybody was able to go down in the slave quarters and sleep with our women, and the men ain't do nothing because he put a spirit on us. He had already said that. He dictated. He put a spirit on us. Then he said, you ain't gonna be able to, a stranger gonna lie with your wife. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it. So he spoke it, and that's what we saw it come to pass. But he says in the last days, he's gonna pour his spirit out on us, return us. Like I was saying, why did the Egyptians decide to put the Israelites into captivity? Because the Esau came to the land of Israel to fight against the Egyptians, and Israel came east, and the Israelites came from God and shut them down. And they saw that spirit that was on the Israelites. That's what made them afraid. They say, well, man, these dudes ain't nothing nice. We got to do something with them, because they saw the spirit that was on them, that dominant spirit that was on them. And so they had to shut them down. So the Most High took that spirit, Lord of hosts. He took that spirit away from us. And that's why we was like tits on a bullhog, excuse the expression. We couldn't do nothing when doing the transatlantic slave trade. He subdued us. Well, now he bring that spirit, he said. That's the reason you see me reading Isaiah chapter 60. He says, I'm gonna arise and shine, for the Lord is back. He's back. He's over you. So that's what we're looking at. So, and to go in further, you got to understand that the Sahel, they keep saying the Sahel. And then he's saying the Sahelians. right? Which is the Sahel is a region, is a land. Well, what is the Sahel? That's the land when the Most High divided up the earth with those 70 angels. He gave the Lord of hosts. He gave him the Middle East, Sinai, Lud. And they say Lud is the place where Jacob had his the dream at. He saw the portal. The angels were coming up and down through this portal from heaven, and they come into this dimension in the Sahel. They call it the Sahel. Same thing with the 200 angels. They came into this dimension through the Sahel. And they came in through Lud. They went from there to Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon right next door to there. Horeb, Mount Horeb, where Moses met the Lord of hosts at, is right there. So we don't know how long the Lord of hosts been coming back and forth through that portal from on the right hand side of the Father, through that portal, coming in through the Sahel. So what we're looking at now, he came back. That's why that region's so hot. That's why our God is. Negroes fumbling with that. Okay?
In order to understand the Sahel, we must go back to the year 1958, when Charles de Gaulle governed France. And when Charles de Gaulle and his administration took the decision that their former colonies would be granted independence, and asked that they vote no or yes. Yes, to mean that you would regain something called independence, but you would remain under France. No, to mean that the French would run away. Only two countries voted no. Algeria under Ahmed Ben Bella and Guinea under Ahmed Sékou Touré. The rest of the countries remained under the tutelage of France and have remained so, controlled politically and economically, including their currency, the CFA franc. So that recently, the 21st century, when young men in the military took the decision that they would change things, it was something that shocked the French and shocked the world.
Okay.
Shocked the French because they said, we are now gaining our independence. What we had was not independence. And I listened so very keenly to Doumbouya in Guinea-Conakry. I listened very keenly to Aïta in Niger. I listened very keenly to Traoré in Burkina Faso, and their message was clear. There are those who said within ECOWAS that Mali must not, when we talked about Mali at that time, they said Mali must be expelled from ECOWAS. And they came and they warned that they were going to attack Mali, but the Malians said, no, we are going to protect our newly acquired independence. The same message came from Guinea, the same message came from Niger, the same message came from Burkina Faso. And there is now unanimity within the Sahel that the time is now to redefine their relationship with France particularly. Let us understand why that redefinition of relationship is important. It is important at two levels, at the political level and at the economic level. We start with Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is a country that was formerly known as Upper Volta. When via coup d'etat, Thomas Isidore Sankara took power in 1983, he said we must rename our country. And he renamed the country Burkina Faso. And he renamed the people the Burkinabe, the country of...
Didn't they rename Jacob? Didn't they rename Abraham? Come on.
Upright men. And he said that the time has come that we must be totally liberated in name our country. And he renamed the country Burkina Faso. And he renamed the people the Burkinabe, the country of upright men. And he said that the time...
Say the country of upright men, right? Okay, everybody heard about Jasher, right? The book of Jasher?
Yes, sir.
The name of the original name of the book of Jasher is the book of upright men. That's the original name of the book of Jasher. Okay.
Time has come that we must be totally liberated from France. France has controlled how we conduct our politics. France has controlled what we sell and what we buy. France controls our money. France controls our everything. And he redefined everything. And within 5 years, we now know that Thomas Sankara and Burkina Faso as a country who are liberating themselves and who are capable of feeding themselves. He said we must take charge of our gold, we must take charge of our uranium. But within 5 years, in 1987, they had induced Blaise Compaoré to assassinate him. And this is always important to remember. When Isidore Sankara was told that you are going to be assassinated and the possible assassin is Blaise Compaoré, he said, Blaise is my friend. If it is Blaise whom they have hired to kill me, then I will not survive. And he did not survive. France controlled the Sahel because of our resources. Then, of course, Niger. Niger is a country that is known for her uranium. Niger is a country that is known for our resources, and we know for a fact that even some of the nuclear tests that have been undertaken by the French have been taken in the deserts of the Sahel region. We know that that particular area is rich in all manner of resources, and the Nigerians took the decision that we are going to change this. When the coup happened, one of the things that was most frustrating was that a decision was taken that Niger must be treated differently, and people don't understand why ECOWAS reacted in the manner that it did. It was uranium. It was uranium that is not only used in France, but is used in different parts of the world for nuclear facilities, and Niger sits upon uranium that has value that is inestimable. And
so forces of the Gentile, that's what he's talking about. When we see that being converted, okay, the very thing that makes them a power is the Lord of hosts had it, got it in Africa, got it in the Sahel. Okay, anybody got any questions or comments? No questions, no comments? Okay, so we'll move on. Somebody got something?
So I was about to say not at this time.
Okay, so with that being said, I'll open it up for some Q&A, comments. Anybody got any comments, questions, dialogue about anything they want to talk about before we go into the topic for conversation? Any comments, questions?
Shalom. I have one question. Far as Russia being Gog and China being Magog, but as Gog of Russia, they at one point held their hands up and said that there was no God, that they didn't believe in God. So as they're coming to now today, as we see, they saying they're wanting to go into Africa, wanting to you know help out Africa. So do they still have that same belief that there is no God?
Yeah, they wicked as hell, but the Lord of hosts is using them. if you go, let's look at you gotta understand who the Lord of hosts is. Let me
Yes, sir.
go
In
to
Ezekiel 20, 38 and 9.
go to the book of Enoch. Go to the book of Enoch, chapter 20. Chapter 20.
Got it.
So verse 1 says about the 7 angels that he formed in the beginning. These are the names of the holy angels, right? Who watch, right? Uriel, and then to give you their character, their responsibility, their roles. Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the world and over Tartarus. Tartarus is hell. 2, Raphael, one of the holy angels, he is over the spirits of men, right? Raguel, one of the holy angels, who takes vengeance on the world or the luminaries, right? 4, and the example of that is, I told you in Genesis chapter 18, it's always 4 angels. You look in the Bible, it's always 4 angels. 4 angels came down to the Tower of Babel, right? And so it's always these 4 angels came, but it's 3 came. 3 came to meet to meet Abraham. And then after they finished talking to Abraham, they went to Sodom. And then it says that they rained down fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So that's Raguel wasn't with them. So look at it, it says right here, verse 3. Raguel, one of the holy angels who take vengeance on the world and the luminaries. So he's the one that was raining down the fire and the brimstone. That's why he wasn't with them. So anyway, keep going. 4, Michael is where I'm going. One of the holy angels, right? 2 wit. He that is set over the best part of mankind and over chaos. So he's over mankind. And then not only is he over mankind, the best part of mankind. So what's the best part of mankind? Israel. The apple of his eye. So he the one that's manipulating. He the one that brought Cyrus. Cyrus wicked as hell, just like the Medes and Persians. And Babylonians, Nebuchadnezzar was wicked as hell. Gog and Magog, they wicked as hell. But he controlled them. His bidding for him. So he's the one, in order to free us, he bringing about what Russia and China doing today. That's why he's there.
Yes, sir. To protect mankind.
Right. Yeah, he dictates what they do. That's why he can say what I just mentioned in Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 15. I spoke it, I performed it, and I brought it to pass. Because he can do that. He's over the affairs of the world. He's over mankind. Not your house, child.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Any other comments, questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else got anything?
Shalom. Have you heard that they're saying some of these events are happening? They call it the Nostradamus effect.
Oh yeah, that's those people. Like I was saying before, they have proven over and over again how, like I said, they say that we all came from the same place, we all blood, but we can see that we not, because of look how they ran behind Trump. After with all the charges, everything that's been exposed to him, they still idolized him and ran behind him and put him back in the White House. Look what they did with Hitler. Wicked as hell as he was, they allowed him. He ain't no different than him and Trump. He did the same thing Trump did. They knew he was wicked as hell. He had all these labels on him, all the things they seen he had done. They still allowed him to rise to the point where he ended up doing what he did. That's who they are. We ain't like them. That's a different blood. That's a different DNA. Right. Okay. Anybody? Okay, so yeah, so like I was saying, our topic for a conversation is: will David be resurrected, or will Yahushua be resurrected? Right. So that question I was in my on Messenger, right, and it was said that it's nowhere in the scriptures that says that David gonna be resurrected, and that David's gonna be risen up from in the last days. This is what was proposed. Said that David, there's nowhere, no scripture that mentioned that, right? So what I did was I typed in Psalm 132. So let's read Psalm 132, and we're gonna go from there. So I typed in Psalm 132. So let's go to Psalm 132. Read it. So we in Psalms 132. Okay. Okay. Let me get it. Yeah, I tore up my last Bible, so I got another one. I gotta get acclimated to it. So, okay. Psalm 132. Okay, here we go. Psalm 132, it says, Lord, remember David and all his afflictions, how he swore unto the Lord and bowed unto the mighty God of Jacob, right? Surely I will not come into the habitation, into the tabernacle of my house, nor go up unto my bed. David talking. I will not give sleep to mine eyes, or slumber to my eyelids, until I find out a place for the Lord, a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. Lo, we heard it in Ephrata, in the fields of the woods. Remember that word, Ephrata, right? 7, we will go into his tabernacle. We will worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, into thy rest, thou and the ark of thy strength. And let thy priests be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saints shout for joy. So, like I said before, what's a saint? What's a saint? A saint is somebody that was dead, and they resurrected them. That's what a saint is. Our forefathers. So it says, let thy saints, right? So right here, you know, when you see this verse right here, it says, arise, O Lord, in thy rest, and thou in thy ark and thy covenant. Let the priests be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saints shout aloud for joy. So they've been resurrected. Keep that in mind, okay? 10, for thy servant David's sake, turn not away. For thy servant David's sake. He didn't say son of David. For thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thy anointing. Turn away thy face from thine anointing. Right? So Messiah. 11, the Lord has sworn in truth unto David. David, not Yahushua, he will not turn from it, but the fruit of his body will I set upon thy throne. If thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony, that I shall teach them, their children shall also sit upon thy throne forever, evermore. So let's look at this. Let's get it rightly divided. 12, if thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony, that I shall teach them. Now see that, the first part of that, you're talking to David. If thy children, David's children, if David's children will keep my covenant and my testimony, that I shall teach them. Then here we go, game change. Their children. The first part of that is David's children. Then now he says their children. They all out of David's lineage, but their children shall also sit upon thy throne. So David's children and his grandchildren, all them is throne, right? Ain't nobody else. It ain't Yahushua throne, nobody else throne. So 13, for the Lord have chosen Zion. He have desired it for his habitation. I told you that. This is when he got Zion, when the Most High divided the earth up between these 70 angels. Zion is his habitation. He have desired it for his habitation. This is my rest, right? That's what the temple is. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell. I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her, Zion, that region that it was given in, or her possessions, and I will satisfy our poor with bread. I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints, see that? Saints shall shout aloud for joy. Now here you go. Brother said that nowhere will he make David. There will I make the horn of David the bud. I have anointed a lamp for my anointing. We already know David is the anointed one. He the Messiah. We saw that up here in the previous 10. For thy servant David's sake, turn not away from thy anointing. So there go the Messiah right there. Then we get down here, 17. There will I make the horn of David the bud. So what is the bud? What he talking about? Bud. So if something gonna bud, you got to put it in the ground. You got seed, the apple seed, orange seed, whatever. For it buds, you got to put it in the ground. So David died, and he put him in the ground. He buried it. So he says right here, there will I make the horn of David the bud. Then he says, I have ordained a lamp for my anointing. What's the lamp? That's the body. He told Abraham, you're going to die. You're not going to live a full day with me. You ain't going to live a full 1,000 years. You're going to die and return to the dust. So they all died. So the Most High got to make them. You got to give them another body, a new body. That's what the lamp is. So he says, I have ordained a lamp, a new body for my anointing. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon himself shall his crown flourish. So what's the crown? The throne. So he's telling David, I'm gonna put you back on your own throne. Ain't no other way to deal with that, or rightly divide it. Unless you deal with another spirit. But he just said right here. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon himself shall his crown flourish. So I shot that to the brother, and let's go with this is what he came back with. He came back with Jeremiah 33. So let's read Jeremiah 33. Okay, I'm in Jeremiah. Okay. Okay, in Jeremiah 33. Okay, I'm starting at verse 15. And though I just broke down Jeremiah and told you, you got to look at where Jeremiah existed and what his purpose was. So here we go. 15. In those days, and at that time, will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow unto David. Right? So what is it? What are you talking about? A seed. He already told, he had Nathan. He told Nathan in 2 Samuel. You go tell David, I'm gonna always have a seed on the throne out of your lineage. But in Psalm 32, he says, in the very end, I'm gonna put you on your own throne. I'm gonna resurrect you and put you back on your own throne. I'm gonna cause you, resurrect you, give you a new body, you back on your own throne. We're gonna deal with that later on. But anyway, that's what he said. So right here it says, in those days at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the earth, in the land. So what are you talking about? This in Jeremiah existed during the time of Babylon. He told Israel that you in sin against the Lord. You're going to Babylon for 70 years. And then I showed you when he told Daniel the 7 years is up. So who is this Messiah that's in Daniel 9:25? It's the root bell. This is the branch right here, out of David. You're gonna raise up a branch out of David, and you're gonna execute judgment and righteousness, and return the Israelites back to Jerusalem. Go ahead. Somebody had something?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Also,
Okay.
I was reading Ezekiel, where he went to the valley of the dry bones in 37. And
Right.
then, you know, he came back in chapter 12, and he was saying, I'm skipping over, behold, O my people, I'll open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then it jumps over to 24 and saying, David, my servant, will be king over them. And then chapter 25, I'm jumping, and my servant David shall be their prince forever.
Right. So they, like I was saying, the 18 missing years that these Hebrew Israelites, Hebrew Christians think that they put on JC is on them. Because from the time you was born till you was 18, you was brainwashed with all that. And now now we're in the last days, you're trying to make that work. But you just read what it said. It didn't say nothing about no JC was going. He said David. We dealing with a supreme being. He don't know that it's David or if it's Yahweh. You don't know. He just said David. And when we see right here in Jeremiah 33. In those days, and at that time, what I call the branch, a son of David, right? Of righteousness to grow up under David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. So let's look at that right quick and see when that happens. So you have to go to, you got to go to Hosea, or not Hosea, but Haggai. Go to Haggai right quick. All right. Okay. Haggai, chapter 2. Haggai, chapter 2. You actually can go to chapter 1, but I'm going to have chapter 2. So it says, I'll go to 1. Chapter 1, verse 1. It says, in the second year of Darius. Notice it's the same year when Daniel looked at the book and saw that 7 years was up. In the second year of Darius king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, king of Judah, and Josiah, Josadak, the high priest, saying, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say, the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house shall be built. Then came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet, saying, it is time for you, O ye, to dwell in your clean houses and in the houses that lie waste. So this right here is what he's talking about in Jeremiah 33 and 15. The branch is Zerubbabel to grow up under David, right? And he shall execute judgment, righteousness in the land. We're going to deal with that in a minute to show you the difference. 16, in those days shall Judah be saved, right? So that's when they came out of Babylon, shall be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. For thus says the Lord, David shall never want for a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. We just read that. Neither shall the priests, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifices continuously. So what are you talking about? You got a covenant with Aaron just as well as you got a covenant with David. It's always going to be a son out of David lineage on the throne. It's always going to be a son out of Aaron's lineage as a high priest. And that's what I just read in Haggai. He says, let me read it again. Haggai 1, verse 1. In the second year, the 7 years up, in the second year of Darius, king of, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Lord unto Haggai the prophet, the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, governor of Judah. He's out of David lineage. And Joshua, son of Jodak, the high priest. That's out of Aaron's lineage. That's the 2 seeds. That's the 2 men, the 2 houses he got covenants with. Verse 20 in Jeremiah 33. Thus says the Lord, if ye can break my covenant of day and my covenant of night, and there shall not be day and night in their seasons, then may also my covenant be broken with David. See that? My servant, and he shall not have a son to reign upon his throne, David's throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers, as the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sands of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David, my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. So he's going to multiply. He's going to make it a point. Multiply David's seed and Aaron's seed, because he got a covenant with them. So like I said, sounds smooth, but it's out of context when you don't know what's actually going on. Okay. So anyway, so that was a comeback. Now I want to go. I showed you. I put Psalms 132 on there because it was ludicrous when he said that there's no verses in the scriptures that say anything about David being resurrected. So now I want to go to a bunch of precepts, just a few of them. Okay. So I'm in Micah chapter 2, right? Micah chapter 2. Let me go to my old Bible because the page is sticking on here. So I'm in Micah chapter 2. Let's look at it. Okay. Micah chapter 5. My bad. Micah 5 and 2. I'm reading from the scriptures, from the Tanak, right? These scriptures, right? So let me get it. Micah 5 and 2. Okay, you tell me if anybody have a comment and see anything different than I do. Let me know. So I'm in 5 and chapter 5, verse 2 is the verse I'm going to. I'm gonna read 1 and 2. Now gather thyself in truth, O daughter of Zion. This is Micah talking. The Lord talking through Micah. Now gather thyself in truth, O daughter of Zion of truth. He have laid a siege against us. They shall smite the judge upon a judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheeks. 2. But thou, O Bethlehem, Euphrates. Remember, I told you that word was in Isaiah 132. I mean, in Isaiah, in Psalms 132. It says, but thou, Bethlehem, Euphrates, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that shall be ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been from old. That's David. So this ain't no house shot. It's David from old, but they plugged in from everlasting, because the Christian, they show you that in a minute. So we see right here, this verse is talking about David. And so when was David anointed? 1 Samuel 1:16. Where was he anointed at? Bethlehem. That's why they got JC coming out of Bethlehem, because David is out of Bethlehem. Okay? When you really understand what's going on. So anyway, we'll go to Ezekiel 37, which you just brought up, Saul. We go to Ezekiel 37, right? Here we go. Ezekiel 37. Okay, and like I said before, it was what was proposed was there's no scriptures in here that went saying that David going to be resurrected in the last days, right? So here we go. See, matter of fact, so the dry bones in itself is telling you he's going to resurrect them, which is what you mentioned. He says, I'm going to start at verse 1. The hand of the Lord was upon me, carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, set me down in the midst of a valley which is full of dry bones, caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry, right? Which is natural. If they've been sitting there a long time, they're going to be dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, thou knowest. And again he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, right? Behold, I will cause, check it out, what he's doing. I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live, and I will lay sinew upon you. See that? So this ain't no somebody already alive that don't know what the hell they at. They lost and don't know who they are. He says, lay sinew upon you. Come on. What do you need to lay sinew on them for if they're already alive? So he says, I will lay sinew upon you. I will bring up flesh upon you and cover you with skin. See that? These ain't nobody that's already alive. Don't know what the hell they are. These people dead. I will bring up flesh upon you, cover you with skin, and I will put breath into you, and ye shall live. And ye shall know that I am the right. When he resurrected them, right? So I prophesied as I was commanded, as I prophesied, behold, the shaking, and the bone came together. See that? Bone came together, bone to his bone. So wherever this bone came from, it went back where it came from to the skeleton it came to. Let that ferment. And when I beheld, the sinew and the flesh came upon them from above, but there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus says the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, breathe upon these slain, that they may live. 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath came into them, and they lived. They stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Now here we go, right here. Then he said unto me, son of man, these bones is the whole house of Israel. The whole house of Israel, right? So this ain't what you've been by these Edomites that it's us in the last days that lost. He says, the whole house of Israel, right? Behold, they say our bones are dried and our hope is lost and we are cut off from our parts. Now 12, therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open up your graves. So go by the narrative that these nutbuckets talking about, what they doing in graves. If they're alive, what they doing in graves? See that? What they doing in graves if they're alive? It says, oh my people, I will open up your graves, cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord. When I have opened up your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and I spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land, then shall you know that I am the Lord. I have spoken it, performed it, said the Lord. So you say, what are you talking about? The whole house of Israel. Is not David part of the whole house of Israel? Is not David dead? Is not David in the grave? Okay, let's keep going. 15. The word of the Lord came unto me saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee a stick and write upon it for Judah, of Israel, his companion. Then take another stick, write upon it for Joseph, right? And the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions. So let's go back. 16. Moreover, thou son of man, he's talking to Ezekiel, take thee a stick, write upon it for Judah. So the Lord of hosts right here, he know who Judah is. He not mistaken who Judah is. He says, for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions, and take me another stick and write upon it for Joseph. He know who Joseph is, right? It's not no side talking or who Joseph is. He know who Joseph is. And the reader that's reading it know who Joseph is, right? The stick of Ephraim, he know who Ephraim is. And for all the house of Israel, his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. And when the children of our people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou show us what thou meanest by thee? Say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribe unto his fellows, and I will put them with him, even the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in thy hand. And the sticks to get whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before thine eyes, and say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, So he know who the children of Israel is, whether they be gone. He know where they at. And I will gather them on every side and bring them into the land of Israel. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king over them. Check it out. One king shall be king over them all. And there have be two nations, neither shall they be joined into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and I will cleanse them. And so shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Now here we go, 24. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. And they shall also walk in my statutes, observe my statutes, and do them, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, who fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be the prince over them. So he know who Joseph is, he know who Ephraim is, but all of a sudden he don't know who the hell David is. He don't know whether it's David or Yahushua. He got a brain clamp. Come on. Like I said, the 18 missing years is on the Israelites. They half-ass awake. And they assume they're awake, but they half-ass awake. Okay? So that's another scripture. So now let's go to another one. Amos. Amos 9:25. Amos 9:11. Right here. I'm in Amos 9:11. In that day, I will raise up the tabernacle of David. No, Yahweh. I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. See that? Close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, David ruins. See that? Where David at? He in the grave. I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So that's goes back to Isaiah 50. Micah 5:2. I showed you how they hoodwinked that. So right here, I will build as in the days of old. So David was in the days of old, in the beginnings of Israel's existence. So Micah 5:2. He's talking about Bethlehem, where David was anointed at. Out of Bethlehem shall come he from days of old, David. When you rightly divide it. Now, there's enough verses right there, but let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah 11. Okay. And like I said before, the blind man said, son of David, heal me, right? The son of David. But right here, Isaiah chapter 11, like I said, the Lord of hosts and the people in heaven, they don't know the difference in Yahushua and David, right? And there shall come forth, Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1, there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, not out of David, but a rod out of Jesse. Who is Jesse? His daddy. So who is the rod? And a branch shall grow out of his roots, and the spirit, right, just upon him, the spirit of wisdom, understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge. Now here you go, 3. And he shall make him of quick understanding. Go back to 37. He's going to quicken him, resurrect him. And he shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither shall he prove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with the iniquity of for the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth. See that? With the rod of his mouth and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Revelations. The plagiarism that's over in Revelation, they telling you JC gonna do this. Said JC coming with a double A. But they tell you right here, but we rightly judge the poor and reprove with the equity of the meek of the earth, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth. See that? They didn't put all this on JC in the New Testament. Okay? So anyway, go to verse 10. In that day, there shall be a root out of Jesse. That ain't no, that's not your house, child. The root out of Jesse is David, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Okay, so like I said before, you want to wait on your house, child, have it. Okay, so anyway, let's go to Isaiah 66. It's 1,000 more verses, but I'm just giving you show you that what time it is. So I'm in Isaiah 66, right? Okay, like I said, we got to get past that debate spirit. Is demonic. So chapter 66. Thus says the Lord, the heavens is my throne, the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye have built unto me, and where is the place of my rest? For all these things have my hands made, and all those things have been, says the Lord. But this man will I look, even to him that's poor and of a contrite spirit, and tremble at my word. He that killeth an ox is as though he slew a man, and he that sacrificed a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation as if he offered swine blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. I also will choose their delusions, and I will bring their fears upon them, because I called, none did or answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and chose that which I delighted not. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and there shall be ashamed. Now here we go. Verse 6. A voice and noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that renders recompense to his enemies. So where is voice going? Behold, she travailed, she brought forth, before her pains, she brought forth a man child. Well, who do you think that is? This voice, this Lord of hosts, speaking into the temple where David buried at. Right? Remember, Yahushua was resurrected. So it can't be him. So he says, 7, before she travailed, she brought forth, before her pains came, she was delivered of a man child. Like I said, ain't no way in hell is Yahushua, because you got a whole 4 gospels over there telling you he was resurrected. So he says, 8, who have heard such a thing, who have seen such a thing, shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? This is Ezekiel 37. Second witness. Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion, the woman, the ground, the earth, travailed, she brought forth her children. They're all in the grave. Just like he said over there in Ezekiel 37. Shall I bring the birth and not cause to bring forth, says the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb? Said thy God, rejoice with Jerusalem and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her, that ye may suck. Be satisfied with the breast of her consolation. That's all our forefathers that we've been reading about, including David. That ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck, ye shall be borne upon her side, and be dangled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforted, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. And when you see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like a herb, and the hand of the Lord shall be known toward his servants, and his indignation toward his. So, like I said before, I don't know, I'm lost, I'm bedazzled. For a brother to say that ain't nowhere in here that JC, that David's gonna be resurrected, when it's all through the scriptures, all through the Tanakh. Any question? Anybody got any comments or questions on that?
Shalom, everyone. You can't get any better than that, I'm going to say, right? So it speaks of his anointed one, right? Which we
Right,
know is David. He was anointed with a certain type of oil, right?
exactly.
So JC in the New Testament, when it speaks of him being uh anointed, he was supposed to be anointed by God's Spirit,
Right,
right? During his baptism, right? So
right,
when we know all that happened due to that, he was able to fulfill um every role, the priest, the prophet, and the king, right?
right,
So in the Old Testament, like you said, he knew who Aaron was. He know Aaron's sons, right?
right,
He knew who David was. He knew who David's seeds was, right? So he
exactly.
had servants in the Old Testament, but they all served a purpose. They did not serve uh one one big lump. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes no sense. So once you breaking that down and you're explaining that, and I'm gonna go this one, this psalm always sticks out to me, which is Psalm 18, right?
Mm,
So I'm gonna start with verse 46 and go to verse 50. It says, "The Lord liveth, and blessed rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted. It is God that avengeth me, and subdueth the people under me. He delivereth me from mine enemies. Yea, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man." 49. "Therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name." Verse 50. "Great deliverance he to his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore."
right. Yeah, it's just like I say, it's all through the scriptures. I mean, to say that David's not going to be resurrected and that David is not the Messiah,
Right,
it's a problem. It's a misnomer because it's all in the
right.
scripture. You ain't reading it right.
You're not reading it right. Yes, sir. And like you said, so many more scriptures you can go to verify that. But why? It's, you shouldn't have to do that on and on and on and on. The only reason why is, like you said, your spirit is not right. It's
Exactly.
self-explanatory.
Right. Like, yeah. I mean, he's telling you point blank. You know, that he's going to resurrect them out of their grave. How can you take that any other way? How can you use some kind of symbology talking about something else when he's telling you that you're going to resurrect? You're not misdiagnosing when JC came out of the grave, but you can't see when that he resurrected David out of the grave. Okay,
Right,
ain't
right.
that
And
something?
how is JC hidden so in the Old Testament, but none of the other prophets or Levites are hidden? Like, no one else is hidden. What the
Right,
Levites are doing in the temple is not hidden. What he have David doing is not hidden. What he have Jeremiah doing is not hidden. But JC is hidden. I don't know. Like, if you're following precept upon precept, it should just be self-explanatory to you, and you shouldn't have to go to the New Testament to find out who the Messiah is.
exactly. That's how it goes. Like I said, it's once you figure out the order of things, which is in the Old Testament, once you get the foundation up there, you can't go wrong. But if you thinking JC got anything to do with Israel, you're gonna, like I said, forever be falling backwards in the dark, because he had nothing to do with Israel. The New Testament had nothing to do with Israel. Peter and Paul, Shaul, and changed his name. All them things had nothing to do with Israel. Those are all concoctions from Esau. Plagiarism. Okay. Anybody else got anything? You got no comments yourself?
He had placed a comment in the chat and said that he was not able to comment due to the lack of privacy.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So glad you showed up, bro. So nobody have anything else before we go? We had 2 hours. Yeah, so I want to put that on the record books. I got other videos on this, but that was mentioned, so I just had to go on and go in on it. Okay. So with that being said, nobody else have anything? We're gonna close out right here. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
You got something, brother? Okay. Shalom.
I just wanted to
Shalom.
everybody shalom.
Okay. Shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.